They're gonna need it, I think.
Okay, well, meeting of the Council on Aging Board of Directors is now in order.
Don't we have to wait for it to be recording?
Pardon me?
Do we have to wait for it to be recording?
Oh, yeah.
I don't, do we? Yeah. is
You
it
guys are all
recording?
set.
We're all
Oh,
set,
oh,
okay. Okay, so I need an approval of the minutes. I haven't got them with me, but I read them and they were perfect, so.
I would move they be accepted.
Second.
So moved, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, public comment, Larry?
No, we're just getting ready for right now a special town meeting, which we moved on October 18th, that we agreed on. And the primary purpose of that is to reallocate funds that we got back from the Monomoy School Agreement.
Right.
So we have to put that into the general fund so we can allocate it. Probably most of it will go back into saving taxpayer money is going next year. And then we have some other items to look at wastewater pumping stations. We want to hire a surveyor. We have the position in town, but we haven't filled it for a couple of years. And there's a lot of stuff, especially with interest in housing to move ahead and some properties we're looking at. So it should be a short meeting. I think we have 9 articles. So it'll be, that's where we are. The other activity I think that I'm most interested in is the relationship between Council on Aging and what we now call HARC, it used to be ADA Committee, the Accessibility Rights Committee, because that committee's been reformed, and I think the first priority is looking at sidewalks in town, specifically the sidewalk from the community
If
center.
you wanna speak, can you sit at the table so we can
Yeah,
hear you?
I was just gonna say, Larry, why don't you
If
come to the
Richard's not gonna
table?
be here, why don't
Yeah.
you scoot right up there so we can hear you?
Sure.
But then I'll be accused of being an official
Yeah,
member.
No, you're just a member of the public participating. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Special interest I have and we have is the relationship between Council on Aging and Accessibility Rights Committee. Because it kind of ties together, as a lot of us get older, speaking for me, Ralph, thank you for sharing that. We gotta be sure that they can get around.
Right.
That things are accessible. And one of the issues, we had a survey done several years ago and that kind of fell apart. But from this committee, a big issue is looking at sidewalks and entrances, getting it back and forth. Because I think if you walked it, the sidewalk between here and Town Hall is a disaster.
Oh, it's
It goes
terrible,
Across
yeah.
the street, it's broken down. And we thought with Matt Hart, chairman of that committee, we thought we were going to get state funds to do some of that work. And we seem to always get beat out by the bigger cities around Boston for some of those grants. So that would be an issue that will be, and I'm hoping that to bring that back and whatever we can do to work together on. Because it does, I think, has a direct relationship to what you're doing at Council
Oh,
on Aging.
absolutely, sure.
And Jenny Hewitt's been great with from the library, looking at that. They've done a lot of things there. They're trying to move ahead on replacing the sidewalk in front of the library. And we're waiting to get that through the procurement stage. But that's, I think, the main activity. As I was mentioning the cable coming in, the towns, all the department heads are mainly looking at budgets right now for the spring meeting. And that's because we moved the deadlines up, so we put pressure on the
Yes.
department
Yes,
heads.
I'm
So-
aware of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're complaining, but they're certainly commenting. But the issue is that every year, we end up at the end just sort of in panic mode on how to get the budget done in time for town meeting. And there's no easy shortcut other than move it up to get data in earlier, so we can relax and go into town meeting with a fully
Sure.
formed warrant article with source of funding. And so that would be the discussion
And a lot of it
now.
has to do with the publication dates and what have you,
Publication
the
dates.
deadlines and,
Deadlines are that, and certification of free cash.
yes, that's a biggie,
Is always a huge issue for us.
yes.
And so we, there's a lot of things that tie into that.
Right,
So
exactly.
at least we'll get the draft budget and to FinCom and get those bids. So that's what's keeping us busy.
Yes, indeed.
That's about it, I think.
Okay. Well, thank you for that update, Larry. That helps a lot. Okay, well, Richard isn't here, so Chair's comments are kind of, anybody have, checking with members? Anything for you, Angie?
Nope,
No?
things have been going well, can't complain.
Nothing?
Nothing?
Nothing. I don't have anything particular, so that takes care of that.
That was quick.
Okay, Julie, it's all on you.
Okay.
You're welcome, by the way.
So, for overview of current and anticipated operations, I wanted to let folks know that next week on Thursday, we are having our pre-planning seminar and luncheon, and our registration for that begins tomorrow. It is much anticipated. So this is an event that we're having that's being co-hosted by the COA and the Cemetery Department. So Cemetery Administrator Robin Kelly has very graciously put together most of this for us. She's invited people from various departments, such as the library and the police department, and then outside companies and agencies as well. So we may have someone from the Bourne National Cemetery, it looks like.
Okay.
We'll also have representatives from different funeral homes in the area and adjacent types of companies like a flower arrangement type of service. So companies that will talk about what it's like to pre-arrange your final arrangements.
Okay.
So for people who are thinking about that sort of thing. So you'll learn what it's like to do this, what's helpful to know, what's helpful to avoid. And if anyone's interested in that, we encourage you to call tomorrow to register for that. There's limited space, it's totally free, you'll get lunch, and you'll learn a lot. We also have an update on hiring for our social services coordinator and also our program specialist too. I do have interviews for our social services coordinator position set up for next week. We have a couple of very qualified candidates who look very promising, and I'm excited to meet with them and see what they might have to offer for the COA. The program specialist 2 position has just opened for external candidates. We did not have any internal candidates who applied. So if there's anyone in the public who feels that their qualifications may be a good fit for this, I encourage you to apply for it. Or if you know of anyone who would like to work for the COA and have the qualifications to be a program specialist too, you can see what the job description is on the town employment website and send those applications to us.
Okay, Julie, could you just highlight what are
What that
the
is?
qualifications
Yeah.
for that job?
So the program specialist 2 is a new position that the COA has created. So we have not had this person in our department before. They will be responsible for program coordination, program development, and also volunteer coordination. So the person would need to have a bachelor's degree, and that could be in a wide variety of subjects. That's open-ended. But we're looking for someone with experience in program development, program coordination, program evaluation, and ideally volunteer coordination as well, and volunteer supervision, because they're going to have a large hand in that. And someone with strong administrative and technical skills as well, because there's a large component of visual and creative development, social media management we're hoping to create more of a social media presence in the community, to do some more advertising. So
Okay.
those are some of the skills that somebody would need.
Okay.
What's the compensation?
That is an excellent question, and I do not know that off the
Okay.
top of my head.
Is it gonna be full-time or?
It is full-time, so benefits and the compensation, I believe, I would say is very fair and generous.
Okay. Still need volunteers, I see.
We do need we always need volunteers. Right now, the main volunteer need we have is, as usual, for volunteer medical drivers. Especially in the fall, we see appointments to physicians tick up a little bit. There is a season to medical appointments.
Mhm.
They slow down in the summer and pick up in the fall and winter. So we anticipate our drivers will be a lot busier in the fall and winter, and we'd like to have some more volunteers on hand to spread that around a little bit.
Okay.
And that is my update.
Okay, well, thank you, Julie. Anybody have any questions on any of that?
I do. Is there a plan for delivering lunches during the winter months?
So the plan is, once we have at least a social services coordinator, but realistically, it will probably be when the program specialist 2 is hired, that we'll start doing delivery again, because we need someone who can, it's a very time-intensive task to manage
Right.
delivery, because of both the volunteer coordination that has to happen, and then the actual managing the clientele to get their orders, keep track of who needs delivery on what days, and what their meal preferences are.
Right.
It's actually quite complicated and time-intensive, so the plan was for that person, the program specialist, to manage a delivery program.
And then your favorite topic?
And the men's?
That, I think we may be able to do with just a social services coordinator, but not promising that. That may be a TBD. But they're very close, you can see that they're very closely lined up. The program specialist 2 hiring is not far behind the
Right.
social services coordinator, so.
Just
we're-
keep us in line, please.
Yes, we are in line to hire both positions.
Okay. And what about the facilities committee? Has there been a reactivation of that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Have they talked any more about, the patio we talked about out back or anything?
Yes,
They have?
yes, I
Okay.
have, yes.
Okay.
In fact, it came up with, Van Gatchadorian,
Oh, yes.
he mentioned it. That was
Okay.
on the
That's right.
discussion.
Okay, so that's still on the
It's still
board
on,
someplace?
yeah.
Okay, good enough, all right. Okay, I guess that takes care of our old business. This new business, I don't have any. And member comments?
Nope, no.
Well, I guess that's it.
Oh, good.
Well, I'll hear a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
To vote?
So we're
We are
going out
adjourned.
to play volleyball now.
That was a record, that
That was a
was a
record.
record even for you,
Short-
Ralph.
the
Yeah.
shortest